anger, that frustration, or whatever the emotion is, comes up, and we respond or we lash out in response to being talked to or handled in aggressive way or inappropriate way, or in a way that was, for whatever reason, hurtful. Because sometimes your spouse can say something to you and they may not be speaking in an disrespectful or aggressive tone, but just what they said, it's a jab, or you take it as a jab, and then you come back and you lash out because of however it hit you. You know, they may not even intentionally be saying or doing anything to hurt you, but you take it that way, and then you respond in a negative way.
Everybody, and welcome to another live in-person episode of Marriage Matters. So for those of you who are watching this for the very first time, my name is Glenn Coleman, and I'm joined as always by my beautiful wife.
Hey, I'm Tanya Coleman.
And like I said, this is Marriage Matters. This is a podcast where we talk about all things relationships. So we like to give you some tips and tricks to hopefully make your life just a little bit better, right? So this has been a very great weekend for us. So we are just coming off of Growth Challenge weekend, and it was phenomenal as always. Shout out to our Growth Challenge family, to the kitchen table, to Mark and Melissa Dunwar.
Amazing people.
Every time we go to one of these, it's always a life-changing event. And, you know, I just want to encourage you that are watching, if you're interested in growing in any area of your life, whether that's growing, well, first of all, just growing as a human being.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the place. This is a great place for you to enhance your journey, to start your journey, or even enhance your journey. If you want to grow as a father, as a son, like I said, to me, it just starts with just being a great human being, a member of this planet we call Earth.
Yeah,
I think it's a great place. What do you think?
I completely agree. It's I cannot say enough about the transformation that I myself have experienced going through the process of Growth Challenge, and then to have the opportunity to sit and to serve as other people are going through their process is phenomenal.
Yeah, so and we literally just walking the door.
We're running in here like the 5 heartbeats.
Yeah, literally.
When Eddie was late.
Yeah, we just pulled up, but we wanted to make sure that we gave you guys something this week. We made a commitment to be consistent.
Yes.
In this thing we call Marriage Matters. And part of that being consistent is a result of Growth Challenge. Yep. So anyway, I put up a banner there on the screen. So if you're interested in attending Growth Challenge, I highly recommend it. You can go to thekitchentablecounseling.com, then go under, I think it's events, or just type in what you see on the screen there, happenings/growth-challenge-weekend. And just all information is there. So like I said, great program. I encourage everybody, if you're looking to grow, if you're looking for change, if you're looking for whatever you're looking for, if you're looking for something different.
I like it, whatever you're looking for.
Growth Challenge can help you get there. So anyway, so as they say in growing up in church, we're not going to be before you. Hey, Kelly.
Hey.
Kelly, we got a chance to meet your dad, and he is awesome.
I'm adopting him.
Yeah, he reminds me of my dad. And as always, Lena Coleman, thanks for joining
Thanks,
us.
Mom, for allowing us the opportunity to go.
Yes, so she stayed with the girls.
I
you
mean,
know, they pretty much keep themselves nowadays.
But they need an adult.
Anywho, so today, I wanted to talk about something that kind of really was stirring in me this weekend, and it's this skill that I believe that I've developed as a byproduct of me working on me. Okay, I've developed this skill, and I don't know what I want to call it, but we'll just talk about it. But I'll just start out by saying this. Let's see, where do I want to start with this?
I don't know, but I don't want to sit like
that. Okay, well, sit how you want, girl. You know what I'm saying? It's your world, squirrel, right? I'll move too then. Let me see. No, but there's a pastor. I don't know if he calls himself a pastor, but anyway, that I used to listen to a lot. His name is Dan Mohler. Really great teacher of the gospel. I used to listen to him all the time. But anyway, one of the first messages I heard him teach was becoming love. And I think I talked about that. I talked about that message a lot. It changed. I'm not saying this like they say, no cap, right? No cap. It really, literally changed my life. But one of the things he said in that kind of rubbed me, and I was like, whoa. He said, if I was out of town and I came home and found my wife in a position where she should not be, in other words, she was maybe cheating with someone else. He said, why in the world would I cry for me when obviously she's the one that's hurting?
Sure.
And when he said that really kind of that's one of those statements I had to kind of stop it and like, yo, that's too.
Had to process?
Yeah, I had to process that because that is something that, I know people who've gone through that. And he talked about that. He said, we often cry for the person in that situation. And that's just one example, but we often cry for the person that was cheated on.
Right.
And the victim, and we put that in air quotes, right? The victim, the person that did the offense, the cheater. We often, the only thing that we give to them is our anger, our resentment, and we're not even the person that's being cheated on,
right?
But we give that to that other person. And now again, I am not saying that person is justified in what they're doing.
Sure,
I'm not saying none of that. But I think I'm just now really coming to terms with what he was really saying. And I think we call this hurt people. And I know that's a cliche and people say it all the time, but it's so true.
Yeah.
And what he was saying was that dysfunctional behavior is the result of his or her own brokenness.
Absolutely.
And he said, why would I cry for me when obviously it's them that's hurting? Right. And so one of the things I think a skill that I've developed as a byproduct of me doing my own healing is that I am sometimes, and again, I said I'm learning, I am not perfect in this, but sometimes whether that's Tanya and I or whomever, and I'm thinking about one example right now. Oh man, I may share a little bit, but maybe not, I don't know. But when Tanya may lash out at me, or even one of my kids lash out at me, sometimes, not all the times, but I'm working on this skill to say, okay, recognize that sometimes it's really not about me, but what is the lie? What is the wound that's causing them to operate and function that way?
Right.
And for me, what that does, it really allows me to slow down in that situation, because I think what happens so many times is our spouse or whomever responds to us out of their brokenness or out of their hurt. And then because we're hurt, what do? We respond right back to them because, and I know like for a lot of men, maybe it's the whole respect thing. Well, you're going to respect me. Don't talk to me that. I know it was for me. You're not going to talk to me that way.
Right.
Well, the reason why I needed your respect is because maybe I really didn't respect myself. And I wasn't okay with who I was. Sure. And so you talking to me that way may be validating the fact that maybe I'm not the man that I really thought I was. And really that has nothing to do with Tanya. That's everything to do with me. Now, I'm not saying that she should talk to me that way, but what I am saying is, and I've said this before, what I've learned to do is stop listening to how she's saying and what she's saying. But in order for me to get to that place, there's some things that I had to work through and work on. But I think it's really allowed me now to be a place where allow space for you to heal.
Sure.
In those moments, because I understand that, okay, this may not be about me. So let me give her some space, and give her the space to feel that way. Give her the ability to feel and process through all that. So I've been talking a lot. So you say something.
You don't have to stop. You're good. I was just thinking that oftentimes it's like our pride, our ego responds in those moments instead of our compassion and the love that we may have for that person.
I'm sorry. It's like I was going to share the post. Go ahead.
Oh, you're
continue. See, right there, she understands that I'm wounded and I'm broken, and sometimes I'm making mistakes, so she didn't lash out at me. Good example. Go ahead.
Okay. But sometimes the ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
Right. And you're not going to talk to me that way. You're not going to speak to me that way. And so in order to show you that you're not going to do that, then that anger, that frustration, or whatever the emotion is, comes up, and we respond or we lash out.
Yeah.
In response to being talked to or handled in aggressive way or inappropriate way, or in a way that was for whatever reason hurtful. Because sometimes your spouse can say something to you and they may not be speaking in an disrespectful or aggressive tone, but just what they said, it's a jab, or you take it as a jab, and then you come back and you lash out because of however it hit you. They may not even intentionally be saying or doing anything to hurt you, but you take it that way, and then you respond in a negative way. I think what Glenn has been trying to say is that sometimes we have to, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but sometimes we have to kind of take a step back from the situation and assess what's really going on here.
And it's funny you said that, because I was just thinking, it's so funny how you can see this. It's like once you discover it, it's like you see it playing out. Like a lot of times we're working with couples and we can so see this in their relationships.
Right.
But if you're right, sometimes you're so close to it, you can't see it.
Right.
And it's easy. I'm not gonna lie. It's easy for us to sit here and when we're coaching couples to see it, but it takes a lot of, again, like I said, I look at it, and I don't know, maybe I should refer to it as a skill, but that's how I see it. It's like developing this ability to see that and to slow things down and get myself out of the way and understand, like I said, one thing I tell myself a lot is it's not about me. It's not about me. And, so just learning that, again, people who are broken, or people, and we all have wounds. We all have things that we're working on. But a lot of times we have to realize that when people are broken, sometimes that's the only way they know how to respond, or they're responding that way. Like I said, it's not about me. It's nothing that I did, and so I can get out of the way and when I'll just say this. Again, the way you get here, guys, is you have to start that journey yourself.
Right.
You have to start that healing journey yourself, because a lot of times what comes into play, I know, especially for me, it was ego. And I needed you to tell me how good I was, and I needed you. And again, when you took those jabs, and sometimes the crazy part is they were not even on purpose, and you didn't even mean.
There was no intent.
There was no
in hurting or being offensive or anything like that.
And that wasn't your intention, but I took it that way, and the reason why, and to me that further proves the point that a lot of times in those situations, it's we respond out of our brokenness. And out of our hurt.
Right. So this just came to me as we were talking. Hey, Kiki, I see you.
Oh yeah, I see Kiki.
Yes. Kiki. He's singing your song. a lot of times we focus on the outlashes. So the aggressive tone or the little jabs. And I think sometimes we leave out the personality type that they may not be aggressive, but they have their own way of giving jabs. They shut down their communication. They withhold their love. They withhold their approval, so to speak, from their spouse because they're in conflict with their spouse. The spouse may or may not know that they're in conflict with them. So sometimes, and I'm just going to talk about, Christians, or really, really nice people, or, whatever that personality is, where I'm going to be Miss Goody Goody and I'm not going to say anything, or I'm not going to be disrespectful, but yet you stop talking to him. Yet you withhold yourself from him. You withhold sexually. You withhold your heart, or he comes home and he's excited about his day and you're that's good. That too is a form of aggression. And that too is coming from a place of hurt that person has not dealt with and has not healed yet. So I don't want for the people who are watching or will watch for you to just have this one picture in your mind and not allow for yourself to really look inwardly at yourself. So take some time to look inwardly at yourself and not at, oh yeah, so-and-so needs to hear this or this. No, look at you. And I think that's the other message in all of this is, instead of me looking at Glenn, when he may come at me in a negative way or send jabs my way, instead of me always looking at him, but look inwardly at myself. Why do I feel that way about what he said or did? And why did I respond the way that I did? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And, another thing that kind of hit me this weekend was you kind of hit on it, but a lot of times we don't think that we're responding out of dysfunction because we're not screaming or we're not yelling.
Right.
Because
I just didn't say nothing.
Right. So, and we talked about this before, but I remember the first few years of our marriage, we used to say, well, we never argued. But that doesn't mean we just didn't talk about it.
Right. We were in dysfunction on some things because we were not communicating.
We just didn't talk about it. So a lot of times you think, well, because you're not arguing, it means that you're doing okay. But sometimes it's better to argue than to sweep things under the rug. Now, I'm not telling you to argue. That's not what I'm saying.
And I think it's not argue, it's have a discussion.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Talk it through.
But what I'm saying is some people think because they're not hollering and screaming and throwing things at each other. In other words, it's kind of like, there's the when Jesus was talking about it was the Pharisee and the publican, I think, and the publican was praying. He was like, oh Lord, I'm so unworthy, whatever. And the Pharisee was like, Lord, I thank you that I'm not like this publican, right? So in other words, sometimes we look at couples and we're out in public and this couple, they're having a heated discussion, and you're like, well, man, at least we're not at least we're not doing that.
Right.
Well, what I'm learning from me, because I'm that passive aggressive person. And it's called passive aggressive for a reason. So I may not lash out, but I'm still, like you said, I'm not talking to you. I'm not giving you the silent treatment. I'm not touching you. All those things, that's still a negative or incorrect response. So I just wanted to share that. Yeah, it's an unhealthy response to the situation.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah. I think for me, the biggest key the thing that has helped us the most, I believe, is talking it through and giving one another the space and the grace to feel the emotion that we feel in the moment. And I think that's the beauty of emotion, is that it's moving. So it is not something that sit and that stays, especially when you allow yourself the opportunity to process through it with your spouse and alone. Sometimes that starts alone, but you have to come back and process with that person. I think that has done us the greatest benefit to talk through it, to allow the emotion to be present. It's okay to get angry. It's okay to be mad because stuff happens, and you have a right to feel how you feel about it, and allow yourself the opportunity again to process it and ask the questions. Why am I responding this way? Why do I feel this way? Why are we here again? Dealing with this same issue for some people.
Yeah.
Asking the right questions.
Yeah. And I'll wrap it up with this. I told you we weren't going to be before you long. Amen. Praise God. But I'll also say this. It's very important that for us, I think that we share our stories with each other.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times that really brings into focus for me sometimes the way Tanya responds. And like, I'll give you one example is, me and my siblings, we pick at each other. We pick at, my mom's on it, we pick at her, and that's just our family. That's how we grew up. We grew up picking at each other playfully, right? Well, I know sometimes I'll laugh or giggle at Tanya because I sometimes I think it's funny, but she doesn't like to be laughed at. And it's because of, I know her story now. So now I understand. So if I just snickered or poke fun at her and then she gets mad at me, I'm like, well, my golly, and in my mind, that's how me and my siblings, we show love to each other that way.
Sure.
When we pick at each other and we talk about each other in a good way, like in a loving way, we show, that's how we show love to each other. But you don't.
I haven't always. I think that that's growing and changing.
Right.
As I have learned, I have started to process through my story, so to speak, and heal some areas that now I find myself laughing at myself a whole lot more than I used to.
But my point is, it kind of helps me not to overreact to your response to me
when I'm not there.
Right. And so I understand what that's about. And that could be anything. I can understand I understand why she responded that way because I know her story. And I think the only reason why I know her story because I've become a safe place for you to share, because even though you're married, that doesn't mean that, you share all the intimate details.
Right.
Because sometimes
so when you say your story, what do you mean? Because not everyone may understand that language.
Yeah. So like, just how you grew up, some of the circumstances, some of your struggles growing up, if you were teased and picked on as a child or, never told you were good enough as a child. And I'm laughing at your mistakes, then that can be triggering for you, for some people, or if I, never, if I never felt that I was good enough, or if I never always didn't feel like I measured up, then if you, were nagging, I don't know, told me, I don't know.
Right. I just wanted you to kind of make it clear.
Right, I got you. But I was just trying to think, if you never, or if you're always, like if I do something.
I'm always correcting you.
Yeah, so that's a good one. So like if I do something, I'm not going to go there again. I was going to say, if I load the dishwasher, those of you who watched last week, and then you come behind me and do it, but I'm just, that kind of thing, then that could be very frustrating for me because you're validating what's already there, and it's like, well, man, I can't even load the dishwasher right. Golly, this woman, it's like everything that I do is not good enough for you.
Right.
So that could be a problem for me if I don't think that I'm good enough.
If you're already
I'm already thinking that. And then that could cause me to respond to you in a certain way. So my point is, and just knowing that about me can help you deal with sometimes if I do respond to you in a way that may be not becoming of me. Is that a good way of saying that?
I like it, not becoming of me.
So, yeah.
So I wanted to say hello and thank you to all of you who have joined us this evening. Miss Abby is on again. Thank you for always for showing up and showing your support.
Miss Abby and Mr. Larry are going to be on the show.
Yes, they have been married for I think 30 years, 31 years, something like that. So we want to get them on and we want to hear from them. And Christy, again, thank you for joining. We love you too. Kelly, we love you. Mama, we love you. And anyone else that may be on that I may not see your name.
I was waiting to see Ms. Abbott's response to what I said, but
about them coming on the show.
Her and Mr. Larry, they're gonna come on and drop some of that wisdom on us. But anyway, so that's all we got. Like we said, we're not gonna be before you long this evening. Amen. We love all of you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. And anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, we about to go. She said, "Ha ha." That's all you gonna say, Miss Abby.
We gotta go and connect with our kiddos and rest.
Yeah, I was gonna say take a shower and take a nap. How about that? Okay. All right, so this is Glenn and Tanya Coleman reminding you that your marriage matters. So, guys, we will see you next week.